Let's talk about seller financing. Hey everybody, I'm Robbie Krager, the Flip Flop Flipper. I'm a value add real estate investor. On today's video, we're going to go through seller financing. What is it? What a powerful tool it is for you as real estate investors to use. And I'm going to define some terms. We're going to talk about how to structure a deal. We're going to go through a few things about seller financing. Why are we doing this? We're doing this because tomorrow night, this video will probably come out after tomorrow night, I'm going to be teaching a masterclass on seller financing inside of our school community. So when you're seeing this and you want to really do the deep dive, join us over on School. You'll be able to go into the archives and check out our masterclass on seller financing. But seller financing is an amazing way for real estate investors to do deals, both as flips or wholesale or long-term rentals. Actually, seller financing is great for everything. In a seller finance deal, the buyer is going to make payments directly to the seller in lieu of the bank. And you're going to have a set amount of payments that you're going to make over a long period of time. Hopefully, if you're negotiating these from the buyer's side, you can negotiate interest rate, you can negotiate price, you can negotiate the terms. That's the length of the contract. At the end of the video, I'm going to go through a couple of different case studies. I'll do one case study as the seller, and I'll do one case study where I'm the buyer. Two different deals, but these are ways that I've personally used seller financing. So you can use seller financing on every type of real estate investment. So whether you're buying something that needs a massive lift of value add to bring up to its highest and best use, or you're buying something that's cash flowing, it doesn't matter if it's housing or commercial or mixed use. It really doesn't matter. You can always go to seller financing. What I want to encourage you guys to do as new real estate investors is to think outside of the box, right? So instead of always just trying to get the very best price and only negotiating price, and if you can't get your price, the deal is dead, change your mindset a little bit. Because if you can talk to the seller and you can give him his price and figure out how to make that deal work for you, you're going to close more deals, you're going to make more money. This is a beautiful way for real estate investors to close more deals. Hey, so seller financing is a great option for you if you've got bad credit, if you're very inexperienced and you've never done it before, if you are in an area where traditional financing is very difficult, like the island of Puerto Rico. Especially on some mixed-use buildings, it's nearly impossible to go to the bank to borrow money on something that's not cash flowing, that doesn't have really good records. So have this as a tool in your toolbox. Seller financing is another way for real estate investors to be able to close more deals. Here's an example of where I use seller financing to effect a sale. I had a property that we originally were going to turn into a small guest house hotel. It was a great deal. We were selling it at $350,000 and we found the buyer. But the buyer didn't have the cash. So $350,000 was my cash price on a property that needed a whole bunch of work to be turned into a hotel, a guest house on the island of Puerto Rico. And this buyer, instead of coming to the table with the $350,000 that he didn't have, he negotiated with me as the seller to finance the bulk of the deal. So he brought $150,000 down and we financed $200,000 to him at 12% interest for 1 year. And so he agreed to our price of $350,000, which was a great price. He agreed to our interest rate of 12%, which for me was a really good interest rate. I was very happy with that. And he put $150,000 down. So as a seller, I felt very good about this. We got a significant amount of money down. We were getting a nice interest rate. So he's been making us payments every month. And I love the cash flow, guys. You know that if you follow us. If you like and subscribe to the channel, you know that I like to buy things and hold on to them and keep the cash flow. So I like selling things and keeping the cash flow. So that was nice. It was only going to be a 1-year deal. So we were supposed to be in and out pretty quickly. The way that it turned out is that the year came and went. So we had built into our mortgage note that if he went past the year, his interest rate would go up. So his interest rate went from 12 to 15%. And so now we're in the middle of this second year and we're still getting payments from this buyer and they've just increased quite a bit. So we got our price, we got our terms, and we got our interest rate. As a seller, this was really good. What we didn't get is we didn't get a premium for having done it, but he put a pretty significant amount of money down and we got everything else that we were asking for. And so in this case now, we've made it painful for the borrower and he really wants to go to the bank and refinance us out. Plus, he's made a significant investment into the property at this point. He's been paying us interest along the way. He gave us that initial down payment, and he's invested about $500,000 into the property. So our property that had some value more than we sold it to him at the time that we sold it, now We're only owed $200,000 on a property that he's finished with the renovations, and he's right now, as we speak, opening the doors to his guest house. And his property's probably worth $1.2, $1.5 million, something like that. And we're in a first mortgage position at only $200,000. We're in a beautiful, beautiful position. He's paying us a nice interest rate, but for us, we're very secure. And for him, he's highly motivated to refinance the property and pay us off because the banks are going to be lending him money at a much lower interest rate. If he goes another year, his interest rate goes up to like 18% or something like that. So he doesn't want to have that happen. So that's how we used seller financing in this case to get a great deal for ourselves. Now let's talk about how we've recently used seller financing to buy a property. So recently we bought a property and it was a 4-family house, and the seller had a mortgage on the property and he wanted to cash out. And so everybody was offering him, and he had multiple offers on it because the house needed a lot of work, including from us. He had offers of between $150,000 cash and $175,000 cash. But he needed to pay off, it was like $115,000 a first mortgage, and he was looking for some money to move on to the next place. And so we ended up buying from him closer to his price. He was asking $250,000. We were originally offering like $150,000 cash, and we negotiated with him to buy the property from him for $215,000, if I remember that correctly, where we would give him $125,000 down, which paid off the mortgage that he had and put some money in his pocket. And then the $90,000 that was left, we were giving him pretty big chunks. It was zero interest loan to us. We came to the table with the cash that he needed to pay off his loan, give him some money to get going, and we were paying him $5,000 a month because he was losing out on a pension. His pension had stopped. He worked for the power company on the island of Puerto Rico, and somehow they lost the pension. So he was about to lose his $5,000 a month. We stepped right in and started paying him the $5,000 a month so that he could go on and live his life. And this is like a 90-year-old man, right? We sat with him. We talked to him. We had the husband and wife who'd been married forever. They were a sweet little couple. It was really nice. And their daughter. And we learned what their problem was. They needed to move mom and dad into a home where they could get some care, and they were losing this income. So what we negotiated with them was this initial $125,000 down, which paid off the first mortgage and gave them some cash, and then $5,000 a month for 18 months. 0% interest, but that gave them 18 months of still having the cash flow, and it worked out really well for us. We went in after and renovated the house, and now we're putting it back on the market. So you guys can kind of see it from both sides, right? So when we're selling, we did one deal where we're selling, and when we're buying, we did another deal. Obviously, you're going to look at this from your own perspective, right? But the kind of key takeaway for you guys watching this video is that seller financing is something that you can use to close more deals. Whether you're a seller, you can get a higher price, get a premium by becoming the bank, or you're a buyer, you can use a stubborn seller who needs large amount of money or is stuck on his money, but he doesn't need it all up front. You can negotiate with him and you can figure out how to make the deal work. Hey guys, that's really high level stuff on seller financing. I hope that you find it as a valuable tool the way that I do. I really love as a real estate investor that I'm able to sell things with seller financing and that I'm able to buy things with seller financing. I really find it as a very, very powerful tool to close more deals. And if you really want to deep dive into this subject and learn how to use this for your business, you should join us over on the Apex Real Estate Group. The link is in the description. We've got a fresh masterclass on deep dive into seller financing. So we do a masterclass inside of the Apex Group every single week. Come and join us over there. Hope you give this video a like. So I'll see you over there, guys. God bless.